Oh my god, I tried to make my hair a bit better, but I made it worse. I am so clumsy when it comes to hair. I'm so I think it's okay. I think I'm okay. I think Hey guys, how are you doing? I hope you're safe, happy and blessed. I'm so happy to be back with another video, and today I'm going to do my best so that the video is not too long. Trust me, you know, I know my videos are quite long, but today I'm going to try harder. So today I'm going to talk about this book called My Voice from Angie Martinez. When she released it, I bought it soon after because Angie Martinez is a woman that I really admire and respect. She has managed to establish herself in a really male dominated industry. She's working in the radio industry, in the radio world, and it's not often that you hear female voices or women who are important figures or pioneers in this genre. She became famous working with Hot 97, a very popular, famous radio based in New York. And Angie Martinez herself is, she's an icon in the world of radio, and she's an integral part of hip-hop culture. And I love hip-hop, you know me. Sorry. So I love her because it's a very competitive, a very rough industry. You know, the hip hop or even the radio world can be quite competitive and rough, but she has always been respected. She maintained a certain poise about her, a certain, you know, standard, you know, a dignified stance, and I really admire this. I mean, she showed us that she's human, but she will not fold to the pressure. She will keep her values, her morals. She also seems to have such a good heart. She has a wholesome persona. She seems really amazing, and she seems like the type of woman I would befriend in real life. I know that if I knew her in real life, we would be friends for sure. I love her. So in this book, she mainly focuses on her journey as a radio host, and when you read the book, you can definitely notice Angie Martinez is a private person. So if you read the book to get gossips or stuff like this is not it. This is really about her journey as a radio host, as a woman, finding her voice. And I bought the book at a time where myself, I was trying to find my voice and trying to learn how to use my voice, because I was still not really healed. I still haven't started my healing journey, and I was trying to find out who I was, what was my story, how can I tell my story, and how can I use my voice, because I felt like my voice and my story has been silenced for so long. And now that I'm starting to feel the power of using my voice, where do I start? And boom, she released this book. And let me tell you when it was. When did she release the book? Okay, it was in 2016, so it was not long ago. In 2016, and I do remember this time. I had just moved countries, and I just left an abusive relationship, and I was just starting my new professional journey, and I was just starting to rediscover myself. So it was really useful for me to read this. Of course, if you're a fan of hip-hop, you're going to love this book. And by the way, the foreword was written by J. Cole, you know. I mean, who better than J. Cole to write the foreword? He's such a deep thinker, but also a critical thinker. And in the foreword, he compares how hip-hop used to be, but not in a reactive way. He really emphasized how hip-hop has been commodified into a state where now hip-hop artists are a bit scared to be authentic, and the main goal now is to make profit, to make money. You know, we hear a lot about money over everything. But what about the values of hip-hop at the start, where it was about community, where it was about empowering people, or transmitting knowledge, or expressing yourself, expressing who you are, expressing your identity without the shackles of capitalism and patriarchy and all this stuff. No, this is me talking, but I mean, if hip-hop was freedom at the time, and now it's so much more commodified, and it's, people want and they need as well to make profit, they need to make a living, but it seems like it has taken power, it has overpowered the essence of hip-hop. So I really did enjoy the foreword of J. Cole, and it really did resonate with my own thoughts. I do hope that I'm speaking loud enough. I just come back from a cold, so I'm still a bit, my voice is still not where it should be. My nose is very blocked. When I listen to rap songs from the 80s or the 90s, it does something to my heart. It does something different, It makes me feel powerful. It makes me feel like I can do it. I can be me. I shouldn't be afraid to be myself. It's not like, sometimes like, I would be listening to a song and I just feel like the rapper or like the artist is dissing me, telling me, you're broke, you don't have no money, you do this, you work a 9 to 5 while I'm doing this, and I'm like, what? Like, I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't ask for all this violence, I just want to listen to music. Although I'm not broke or whatever, but sometimes you feel like, are you trying to diss me? Because obviously I'm not at your level, I'm not a millionaire, but you're talking to me like I'm just some type of piece of shit, and it doesn't feel good. And that's one of the reasons why I stopped listening to some of these artists, because you want to listen to music and just feel bold, brave, like he said, empowered. You want to feel like we as a collective, we can do something, Of course, there is an individuality, but also as a collective, we can empower each other. We can work together to make great things, So yeah, you see already, I'm talking too much. Let's go back to the book. I think for this video, I'm going to go in a linear way. I'm going to go chapter by chapter because I didn't really have the time to break down the books in a different way, maybe by topics or stuff like this. And I have a cold and I'm tired. Just to let you know, I didn't have the time. The prologue is about a very significant moment in her journey. That's the moment where she decided to leave Hot 97. Hot 97 is really the radio where she made her career, where she started her career. It was really the key point for her. This was like her home, and I find it interesting that she goes straight to the point, because I think at the moment where she published the book, people were still wondering what made her leave. So for her to tackle the issue or to tackle the subject straight in the prologue was a way to go straight to the point, I guess. I really enjoy the first chapter. It was really endearing, because on the first chapter, obviously, she talks about her childhood. She talks a lot about her mother, and how her mother, the type of woman her mother was. She seemed to be very loving, very sweet, but at the same time very, very assured that she had goals to reach as a woman. In this chapter, you see Angie really pays homage to her mother. In the book, what I understand is that Angie Martinez didn't grow up with her dad. She mainly grew up with her mother. What I get from the book is that she didn't feel like there was a missing piece, because she has been loved. She felt the love. She felt loved. She had other father figures in her life, and it just made my heart smile, because so many bad things are being said every day about single mothers. A kid needs love and protection and safety. So when you love your child, you make sure they know they are loved, they are safe, they are protected, they can bloom. And I really love this chapter because, you know, at no point you can feel or read any type of bitterness coming from Angie. She seems to be like such a balanced child, very lively, happy, and it just makes me happy. You see how I'm smiling? This is just me. Non, comment ça s'est cassé ça? Yeah, it just makes me really happy. It's just you know, and her mother has been always like supportive and loving. Angie Martinez stresses the fact that her mother took motherhood very seriously, but at the same time she made sure she had the space to grow as a woman, to explore herself, to explore life as a woman. And I think that's what made Angie Martinez's experience so rich. It definitely shaped her into this amazing woman that she is today. You see the importance on the mother and daughter bond here. Although Angie wasn't close to her dad, she didn't live with her dad, she has managed to, like, you know, to bloom, to grow beautifully, and her mother has been able to grow as well, to develop as a woman, and all this has been pouring into Angie. When Angie grows, you know, she becomes a teenager, and her first job at a radio station, she managed to get it via her mom. So her mom helped her get her first job in the radio. You know what, guys, I don't think it was a good idea for me to do this video while I have a cold, because I'm struggling to talk, but I am going to go until the end because I started, I'm gonna finish. So her mom helped her get an internship at a radio station in Miami. So you see, if you're a mom, you can help your daughter do it, okay? And come on, daughters, don't hesitate to ask help from your mom. I mean, that's how it should be, really. That's really how it should be. Like, family is meant to be the first support system. And if it's possible, if you have like healthy family link, you know, that's how it should be. I mean, use it as your advantage. So she started in this radio station in Miami, and then they were looking for an intern at Hot 97, and she got the place. And she said that she started from scratch. What I like from this book as well is the work ethic that Angie is talking about. So she's been working. She's starting from the bottom, so she's been doing a lot of stuff. She was not always paid. She was doing everything and anything. Nothing was handed to her. She worked for it. Not only she worked hard, but in her book, what is obvious is that you need to work hard. You need to have a work ethic, but also very important, you need to be surrounded by people who love you, who believe in you, who are ready to support you. But you need, you know, that safe group of friends with whom you can share success, you can share milestones, you can cry with, you can share your failures. They're going to be with you, they're going to have your back, they're not going to judge you, they're going to be here. It needs, yeah, loving, supportive, safe friendships. I mean, I think this is important as well. There is no easy road to success. You have to work hard for it. You have to believe in it. You have to be surrounded by the right group of people. And if you have your family to support you, that is the best. Your family, friends, and you need to have this clear vision. You're going to mess up from time to time. You know, she messed up a lot of times, and she's honest about it. She's quite frank about it, but that's part of the journey. Nothing comes easy, and it wasn't an easy road for her to become this hip-hop mogul or radio mogul that she is today. So she said at first the pay was not extraordinary, but she was doing what she loved, and she was feeling some type of, you know, when you're doing what you love, you're paid for it, you have the passion, the purpose, that is great. And when you feel like you're adding value to the community, that is great. So she was she was happy, and she was, you know, she was starting something new, because at the time hip-hop was not a big thing. So she was really a pioneer. She started to have a slot at night time, and she also started a show called Battle of the Beats, and it was a first. That was a big first, because it was a show where they would like put one song against the other, and the audience, the listeners, had to call to vote for the song they preferred. So that was a big first, you know, in the hip-hop world, and also I think in the radio world. And because it was so new, there was no rigid rules. She had a lot of freedom, so she was having a lot of fun. When you have a job, when you do something, you need to have fun. You need to have fun doing what you love, and you need to have the passion. You need to feel like you're feeling a purpose, you know, you're accomplishing a purpose. So she was doing what she loved, and it makes me happy. It's inspiring. So step by step, as time went on, she's starting to make a name for herself. She's starting to be known as someone who knew hip-hop, as a serious person, a serious connoisseur of music. She was knowledgeable. So she started to make a name for herself in the hip-hop scene and in the radio world. Mind you, all of this is taking place in the 90s, mid-90s. Hip-hop is emerging as a mainstream genre, as a mainstream musical genre. Comes a point where, you know, hip-hop started to be more and more commercialized. And in the mid-90s, we reached a point where there was this fabricated and amplified East Coast versus West Coast. And in the book, she keeps on saying that it was a very, very dark and scary moment for hip-hop at the time. And you can tell that she really, really, really didn't like this. She didn't really like this moment. So in her book, she's really candid about everything, about her feelings, about her place, about her position and her situations. What we really see, what we really sense is that Angie Martinez is a really sensed person, and she's about peace, you know, she's about people getting along and resolving their issues in the best way. So at some point, she received a call from Interscope. I say Interscope because I have my strong French accent, but she received a call from Interscope where she's being asked to appear in one of Tupac Shakur's video. Now bear in mind that Hot 97 is a radio in New York, so Hot 97 is seen as really East Coast bastion, as a East Coast sorry, notification happened, as an East Coast radio. So Angie Martinez is seen as in the East Coast side. So she says in the book that at this stage there were some type of allegiances, some type of sides, you know, some type of people taking sides. So when people called her to appear in one of Tupac's video, she felt a bit uncomfortable because she felt like she couldn't accept that, because people would see her as a traitor or as someone who is switching camps, or, you know, she didn't want to add fuel to the fire. So she politely declined. However, later on, like when she politely declined, the very, very famous and now unfortunately dead rapper Tupac put forward the idea of an interview. So Angie Martinez would be the best person, because at this stage she already had a name for herself. She was seen as a serious hip-hop radio host. People would listen to her, and even Tupac trusted her judgment. Tupac said that Angie Martinez was someone who reported things with fairness, contrary to other media outlets who are trying to, you know, fuel this East versus West dynamic, who are trying to add more drama to what was happening. So Angie Martinez was a bit hesitant because, you know, she didn't know Tupac personally, but from the persona he was exhibiting in the media or via interviews or via his music. Sorry, my chair is just like moving down by itself. So she was a bit hesitant because Tupac was portraying this very aggressive person, a very not only outspoken but very aggressive, very in your face, very you're gonna get what I'm gonna give you, you know. So she was a bit hesitant because she was more the peaceful person, but at some point she agreed to conduct this interview, and again in this vision of she wanted to help. That's what she says in the book. So she really wanted to help to diffuse the situation and maybe to bring something closer to peace, you know, I guess. In the book, in chapter 4, you can really see, you know, the meeting with Tupac. So they did conduct the interview, and chapter 4 was very interesting. It was very intense. I mean, when you read chapter 4, is as if, you know, you're not like physically present during the interview. You can really feel the tension. You can really feel the tension, and she did really a great job in retranscripting this interview, in really like portraying the interview. I can really imagine that it was very tense, because first of all it was in the midst of a very difficult moment for the East Coast and the West Coast, for rappers such as Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls and other rappers, and also because Tupac was really a person at this moment who was also attacked, you know. So he was also, you know, defending himself, and he was also, you know, explaining his anger, explaining his, you know, all the reason why he felt very unhappy and upset. Who is calling me? Sorry, I'm gonna pause the video. Someone is calling me. Let's go back. So what was I saying? Yeah, so in chapter 4, yeah, she said that Tupac was very animated and dramatic about everything. That's what she says, her word. And I'm not surprised, because judging from, you know, the person that we see in interviews, video clips, documentaries, that's just who he is. He's very an energetic person, very passionate about what he believes in. She did try to challenge him about him, and she really did try to, you know, bring peace. At the end of the interview, when she just thought about what she had, she noticed that if she released the interview, it's really going to ignite, you know, what was already happening. She felt like if she just aired the interview fully, it might be a problem. But because she's such, you know, a very authentic, true person, you know, you can really see from the book and, you know, from her persona. So she decided like to keep some parts of the interview, which in her opinion were the truth, Tupac's truth, and also things that were positive, because she didn't want, you know, to make things worse. And it was very hard for her, but she, you know, in her position, you know, as a really like authoritative, at the time she was starting to be like an authoritative figure, she decided to do what was best for the hip-hop community, so that there is no more conflict and no more escalation. Unfortunately, as we can see in chapter 5, you know, this dramatic period, you know, when we had the East Coast versus West Coast, unfortunately it ended with the death of two important, talented, impactful figures in hip-hop, which were Tupac Shakur, who died, and then Biggie Smalls. She does actually say that when Tupac died, she was extremely shook, because, you know, when Tupac died, he was 25 years old, the same age as Angie Martinez. So it was like a real shock to her. And, you know, as a radio host, when she learned about it, I think she was working, she felt like it was a responsibility for her to let her listeners know. And it was hard for her because she was not trained as a classical news reporter, but she made the announcement from her heart, as she says in the book. So she was not trained to report such type of news. She was quite scared, and she also had her own emotions, but she did it. And here you can see that it was a hard moment for her, but she did it from the heart, with the best of her abilities. And it's just a lesson that in life, things, you know, as far as her position, and sometimes you have to, you know, get out of your comfort zone, talk about things that are very difficult. You have to be in the midst of conflicts and stuff like this, but, you know, you have to go for it and just try your best. Just do your best. Go and do your best. Take your best and roll with it. Of course, B.I.G., the notorious B.I.G., died, and it was another earthquake in the hip-hop world at the time. Chapter 6 is really, about her rise to fame, as being famous, because, as I'm saying, at the time she was becoming a very important figure in hip hop. She was seen as, someone who is respected, knowledgeable. Fame is different. Fame is not about what you do, what you know, how well you do something, but fame is about popularity, the number of people who know you and who recognize you. I like chapter 6 because, she said that she was getting famous, but she was still not good with money. She was struggling with money. She was not financially literate. This is me too. And it's good to know that, at the time she was already an adult. She was 25 plus, and she was getting more secure, more balanced. You're not the only one making these mistakes, and it's okay to learn. There is not a set timeline. There is not a set deadline. No, there is always time to learn. You're gonna make mistakes. And Angie Martinez, she made these mistakes too. In chapter 6, a lot of things happened. She also talked about the atmosphere at work at Hot 97s with the arrival of Wendy Williams to the station. Wendy Williams, you probably know her. She also talked about her career as a rapper because, she did say that she didn't have a plan to become an artist or a rapper. But after, because, as a radio host in Hot 97, you get to know rappers, you get to know the industry, you get to know people, key people in the industry. And at some point, I think it's KRS-One who put the idea of her rapping. And she just went for it, and she did have like a good time because, her song Ladies Night was quite a success. And she did quite well as a rapper. So she does talk about it in the book and how it started. And here you can see again that just go for it, just go for life. Chapter 7 are more centered about her development as a radio host, the arrival of Wendy Williams, her friendship with Funkmaster Flex, who is also another very key figure in the radio world and hip hop. In the following chapters, you learn a bit more about her love life. We learn about her friendship with Fat Joe, Fat Joe's wife. What do we learn as well? Her love for Big Pun. You will see that at the end of part 2, she did go wider than hip hop. She did just transcend hip hop to just become like more open to other topics such as politics as well. Part 3 starts with the chapter 11, but I really feel like chapter 10 should have been, in part 3, simply because I just feel like part 3 is more about the woman she grew into, and now we can see the woman she is outside of her passion, her love for hip-hop. She does mention the very, very tragic moment of 9/11. She does realize that outside of being a hip-hop radio host or a radio host, she does have a role towards a community who goes beyond hip-hop, and again, just like with the death of Tupac or Biggie, again, she was not trained as a classical news reporter, but for such key defining moments as a radio host, she had to use her voice. And again we do have the link with the title My Voice. She did use her voice, even if she felt she was out of her comfort zone, even if she felt like she was talking about things that were bigger than life or things that were very serious or very traumatic. She managed to find the strength to use her voice to just help the community, support the community, give love, give hope, give reassurance. But going back to hip-hop, in part 3, she does mention her role, her position, her stance on the beef, between Nas and Jay-Z. So now we're more moving into the 2000s. She does explain her friendship with Jay-Z, how close she was to him, but at the same time, how much of a fan of Nas she is. Again, a difficult position where as a hip-hop fan, you have a love for music. You do understand how hip-hop works. And also as a radio host, you do have, whether you like it or not, you do have to stay objective. But you do also develop friendship with people that you meet. So she does talk about it. But I love the fact that she's always, from the book, you can always see that she's always trying to be fair. Talking about friendship, she does talk about how a good friend she is to Mary J. Blige. She does talk about the friendship they had. It really warmed my heart. Mary J. Blige was such a good friend. And at some point when she got evicted and she didn't have enough money, and Mary J. Blige just said, you need money, just take it. This is the type of friend you want to be. This is the type of friend you want to have. She talks about other rappers she became friends with. She did talk about a lovely story with Lil Wayne. Toward the end of part 3, you know, as far as a radio journey is concerned, she's starting to grow more and more unhappy with her radio station. She's starting to be more and more unhappy with the decisions of the radio, and she felt like she was less and less consulted about the decisions the radio was taking, and she didn't really like it. And at some point she did started to feel a bit different, you know. Sometimes the energy, your feelings, your intuition, the gut instincts, they're going to tell you something is different and it's time for you to make a move or to change. And then, yeah, we are arriving at the end of the book. Here she does talk about her start at her new radio station, which is Power 105. Okay, which is Power 105.1. I don't know if they say the point one. I never pay attention to it. Ever since Angie has been there, you know, it's the same person. But I just love to see that. I just have the feeling that she just goes to explore so many more topics. It doesn't negate the fact that I loved all the interviews she's done with Hot 97. Nothing to compare. I'm not trying to compare, but all I'm saying is that I loved her before. I love what she did before. I love what she does now. And what can I say? The epilogue, you know, the epilogue. Great epilogue, because in the epilogue she talks about the marathon. She did try to run the marathon. Excuse me, I'm being very bad here. She did not try to run the marathon. She did run the marathon. And you know, the epilogue is what made me cry when I read the book. It really made me cry because it was such a beautiful illustration of resilience. She was saying that at some point she was running, she couldn't take it anymore. She was very, very tired. She did admit she was not really prepared for it. She was not taking this seriously. Before the marathon, she did not really train. But during the marathon, she did explain that at some point she was so tired. She felt like her whole body was sore. And she just met people clapping for her, cheering on her, telling her, keep going, even if you're last, keep going. And you know why it made me cry? It made me cry because it just made me think about life and my life, where there are so many moments in my life where I felt like I couldn't go on, I couldn't take it anymore. There were moments in my life where I felt like I couldn't go further. I'm not gonna cry. And you know, and just along the road I just met people, strangers, who were just like, they were just telling me like, keep going. I know you've been hurt, I can see in your eyes you've been hurt, but just keep going. Like, beautiful things can happen, beautiful things are going to happen. And you know what I'm telling you, just people who didn't have to do it, and it takes so many forms. You know, sometimes it was just people just giving me a smile when I was just crying in my soul and my heart. People just telling me, you're doing great, oh, thank you for being here. Let me tell you about this roommate that I had, and at this point I was just like broke. I was a single mom. I was a single mom working part-time in another country. I had no family, but you know, all these things, but I was just felt like I had to go on. So although I had no money, I was still going to university. I was doing my master's degree. I was working in the school, working in the shop, doing all these things. And you know, just there were times where I felt like I would break down. And just let me tell you, this roommate, there were days where I wouldn't hit dinner because I didn't have money to have enough to cook enough food for me and my son. So I would feed my son, but I would not eat because I was like, the priority is my son, he needs to eat. And if I just have to have one meal a day, I'll find a way. There were days where I was just like sitting, and I don't know, but she knew I was hungry. I was starving. Maybe my face, I don't know. I think I was drooling from hunger. But I'm not going to tell you how many evenings she was just like, you know what, come and have dinner with me. She was just cooking for me, feeding me. She kept me alive. She didn't notice it, but she just, you know, fed me, gave me enough strength to just, you know, to just have the physical strength, the mental strength to go over another evening, to wake up the next morning, have strength to bring my son to school, and so many other things, you know, so many other people who, as I said, just gave me a smile, a word, a hug can change a life. So yeah, this chapter, it just made me like realize, it made me cry, and it just made me realize that it takes a village. It takes a village. We need one another, you know. And as much as we see on Instagram and all this social network and all this, in all this Western world, that you see this message of just worry about you, it's about you, don't worry about other people think, it's your life, you know. Of course there is some truth to that, but the truth is I wouldn't be here healthy, having the strength to make all these YouTube videos and having the strength to talk about all the things I've been through in my life, if it weren't for all these people who are giving me a hand, giving me a helping hand, a smile, a hug, and who are giving me their love, their energy. They didn't have to. They gave me what they have, and it helped me to stand. But if it was just about me, with the resources that I had in my life, with what I've been through, I would just give up, because I wasn't strong enough to overcome all of this on my own. Things happened to me when I was just 5 years old, and I'm like, I've been broken at 5 years old. There was no way, you know, if you've been broken as a child, for instance, or before you become an adult, there is no way you can, you know, heal on your own. There is no way you can just sit and be like, it's about me, I'll be able to heal myself. And in my case, and I know for a lot of people who've been through things, traumatic things as a kid, of the nature of what I've been through, you need this safety around. You need safe people. You need love, so much love. Sometimes it's hard to keep going, but it's the support of the people around you that help you. If it was just up to me, I wouldn't be able to make it. And just to let you know, if it was up to me and just being centered on myself, I would be, you know, if I center on myself, as I told you, I've been crushed at 5 years old. If I center on myself, what I see in my heart is pain, chaos, hurts, death, destruction. And I just needed these people to see that actually in my heart there's something else. It's like, you know, it's like a type of light, and it's lighting the shadows you have in your heart, you know, when you have these people around you. Love exists, honestly. Love exists, and it takes a village. We need one another. And I just feel like as I become older, I understand a bit better the meaning of we are one. We are in this planet, 7 billion people. We need to love each other. You can't possibly have 7 billion people worrying just about themselves, you know, being just selfish, egoistical, just going on about their journey, not worrying about the next person. No, it's just chaos. And I just feel like this book goes along it, and that's just why I love the book. And it just, you know, Angie Martinez. I told you, I just feel like this is someone in life I would be a friend of her. I believe, because, you know, just like her, I love people, but I'm also very guarded. And I just feel like, you know, I'm very guarded. I love peace. I love to have a good time, and I just feel like some of the values that I hold deep in my heart were echoed, you know. Love people, give love to people, be positive, we need one another, don't be an asshole. I'm gonna stop on this. I love this book. Angie Martinez, love you guys. Take care, stay safe. Also, please give me the name of some rappers that you like, you know, some very, very good hip-hop artists, rappers, you know, today that you like, because I don't know, I just feel like it doesn't feel my soul anymore. If you have some rap artist, female artist, you know, because you know me, you know how much of a fan I am of Queen Latifah. So, you know, rap artists who are like in these, you know, things, you know, who can give me positivity, strength, where, you know, I can just like feel like I'm a boss lady, you know. Anyways, yeah, you know, Rhapsody, I love her, you know. So rap artist in her, you know, in her. I love Doja Cat though, you know. I'm very, very proud of her. I love Doja Cat because she's just her. She's herself. She's authentic. And yeah, I love Doja Cat. Why am I saying this now? Yeah, I think I just wanted to show you that I'm still hip. No, and just I need to let you know, guys, I liked Doja Cat. I was a fan of Doja Cat before she was mainstream, so there is nothing you can tell me. I was a fan of hers in 2013. Okay, wait, I was a fan of hers in 2014, so there is nothing you can tell me. You cannot tell me that I'm just following crowds. Okay, yeah, on that note, please send me some rap music that can feed my soul, who can just, you know, all these things. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I don't care if it's just one person watching, 2 person, 100 person, 1 million. I'm gonna say that I love you guys. I just want you to stay safe. I just want you to bring more love here to your heart, to yourself, to your brain, to your body. And you know, when you do this, it means that you can give more love to the people around you, and it means that we can love one another, and you know, the world can just be a bit safer and a bit more fun. And yeah, again, thank you for watching the video, and I just hope that you enjoyed the video, and I just